Hi, I'm making this video just to really highlight and give publicity to Gordon Bowden, and there's a bit of an introduction in this before he comes on, because there's been other speakers before Gordon at this event, which has been hosted by Mark Salon, who himself has some he always has interesting information to share with people. So although, you know, this video will doubtless be heavily disliked like all my others, what Gordon Bowden has to say is very, very important information, and it is sad that we're living in a society full of cognitive dissonance, and that the internet is absolutely full of an army of full-time trolls that are spreading disinformation, confusing issues, distracting, issuing false allegations against people online, and just all kinds of stuff is going on, you know, and it has been a depressing experience, really, as I've spent the last 5 or 6 years online, specifically addressing child rights and crimes against children, particularly organised crimes against children, which you know, Gordon Bowden includes in his presentation here, and realising just what a very small community the internet really is, and that there are people that do have multiple accounts under various names. You go onto these accounts, there's nothing there, they've got no friends, one picture, just basically cardboard cutout accounts. And you know, not only am I trying to share the information with people about what is happening and why we need to act, exactly as what Gordon Bowden is doing, you know, because we do need to listen to what he has to say, and we need to demand that our police take action, okay, that our police and courts and government take action. And until we demand it, no action is going to be taken, because we are dealing with a thoroughly corrupt government. There is no opposition to them. Every single politician virtually is beholden to the very same powers that this man is exposing. So please, if you sat around thinking that justice is going to land down, you know, from a cloud, it really is not. It's only going to happen when you start standing up for the people who are standing up for you. And this man is standing up for you, okay? My friend John Paterson he's given full support to this man. He's reported the crimes to police. He's just being ignored, exactly the way Gordon Bowden is ignored. And they can ignore us, can't they, when there's only 1, 2 or 3 of us. And that is why it's time to do something. So you write to your MP, you ask, present the evidence, it's online. Introduce your MP to Gordon Bowden. Say, as one of your constituents, I'm very concerned about this. This isn't a political issue. What party you with is of no relevance at all. This is a criminal issue. That's what it is. It's a very serious criminal issue. Gordon Bowden is explaining how David Cameron, the likes of David Cameron and other prominent people in British society, colluded to rob Britain and other countries. They looted pension funds. They looted the NHS trust funds. They've looted independent British businesses. They've destroyed them through fraudulent and criminal financial practices. Like, for example, giving AAA ratings to fake oil companies in the Falklands. Now, somebody has, in order to get a AAA rating, that investment really needs to be known as solid. A AAA rating means it is a very safe investment. It's very secure. At the very least, you get your money back. Okay? And they were doing that to fake companies, fake corporations that they'd set up. And then suddenly that crashes. Oh, that's it, a pension fund is gone. Somebody's trust fund is gone. Suddenly, the market's been flooded with these fake AAA rated companies. Nobody's money's secure. So where did it go, this money that suddenly disappeared from our pensions and disappeared from the banks and just disappeared? Where did it go? Because it really didn't vanish, did it? How did the banks have this huge deficit? Because what has been shown for a fact is that the average citizen, working citizen, who's had a loan off the bank for a mortgage or whatever, they have paid their debts. They do pay their debts. The majority of them, they pay their debts. The majority of the debts that have been accumulated, that have crashed the banks, have got absolutely nothing to do, really, with public lending generally, and everything to do with insider trading and insider fraud and theft. Okay? And all that money, well, the bank in the Cayman Islands didn't crash, did it? As the Swiss bank crashed, or the Jersey bank, or any of the tax haven banks. And, you know, we need to ask these questions because they do want to dump this debt on our children. The same people that created it, that have been behaving fraudulently and criminally, as Gordon Bowden fully explains, you know. And so what, we are just going to sit back and let them dump that debt. Now, not only the original debt, but also the debt that's been accumulated by the government, having to borrow money off the banks. Okay, the banks are printing money to lend to our government, so then our government can bail out the banks with the loaned money that then we have to pay the banks. We are now paying £1 billion a week interest on the bailout loan that we gave to the banks. And as soon as they got it, what did they do? Give themselves huge bonuses, blatantly. And people wondered what Occupy, or why suddenly Occupy appeared. And nobody really supported that much, did they? Let's face it, it sort of came and went and fizzled out, and it's like, yeah, it's all gone. And that's what I'm saying about the British people. Honestly, you have got absolutely no idea. Please go and have a look at pre-World War II Britain. Okay? Go and have a look how people were living. The majority of people. You're talking 70–80% of the population had no health care. Families regularly had to watch a child die because they couldn't afford a doctor or medicine. Sanitation was atrocious. Workers' rights, virtually non-existent. People would be employed and laid off at the employer's whim. Families could be left suddenly for weeks, a mine, for example, family could be left for weeks with no income and no other form of employment available. You know, these are the kind of things that people in Britain do not realise what our ancestors went through and why they delivered our human rights. And they're going to be scrapped in autumn. In autumn, the Tories are bringing in the bill. And yeah, they've got the election coming up. Well, obviously they are going to win it, aren't they? They're very confident of that. That's why they're announcing, oh, we're bringing in our Bill of Rights in autumn. And we do need to ask ourselves why they're having a general election in summer, in the middle of summer. Postal votes. There is very strong evidence that the referendum and the Scottish election, the Scottish referendum, and even the British general election, lawful suspicion that though all those votes were rigged, all those elections and referendums were rigged. And the weak point is in the postal votes. So we are living in a very, very dodgy system, and it is extremely corrupt. And as much as you might imagine it's corrupt, those who aren't well informed yet about what's going on, as much as you can imagine, you'll be horrified to discover that it is, you know, 5 times worse than you could even have imagined. And the levels of crime and the levels of callousness and, well, sadistic cruelty, you know, it is a terrible thing. My friends lost their £200,000 pension. They paid £200,000 into their pension, personally, and they should have been able to retire at age 55 from their own business. And then, just as they were about to retire, and actually the business had started to fail with the recession, but they thought, well, you know, they were due to retire the following year, and then they got told, they got a letter off their pension provider explaining that now, because of the banking crash, they can now retire at age 70 on a pension of £1,000 a year. I think they got £15,000 compensation off the government because it was actually a government endorsed pension scheme. And not one person got arrested, and they would have been better off just saving the money up and shoving it in under the mattress, wouldn't they? But no, they did it. They did it as they were advised to at the time. They did it properly. They set up a proper pension scheme. They paid into it regularly. They had paid £200,000. And so they lost all of that money, just bang gone, and not a single person gone to jail for it. Nobody's accountable for it. And you think that you can live in a system like that? You think that that's what you can leave to the next generation? And so, yes, now you know. Now you know why people like Gordon Bowden are being ignored. Why people like myself, who are standing up for child rights, and even also trying to wake people up to our universal reality. But there again, what would you expect anybody who's involved with, you know, universal intelligence and universal law, what would you expect them to be doing, if not standing up for children's rights, standing up to support people like Gordon Bowden? It's all part of it. And everybody needs to stand up. And, you know, even if you just share this this post on your Facebook or on your Twitter, or show it to your friends, get talking about it, get writing about it. Start asking questions. Because I tell you now, these people have robbed nations. And now they want to take full control of those nations that they've robbed by enslaving us all to pay their criminal debts. And fully control all means of production. Right down to even a corporate police force and corporate military that are beholden. They're global corporations, you know. A global corporate military are in Britain now. And they will do anything anybody asks who's prepared to pay them. And they are often employed by governments. Like DynCorp, for example. Check out DynCorp. So, as I say, you know, things are very serious and people are not waking up. They're still living in BBC La La Land. And we do need to ask ourselves why the BBC, even though Gordon Bowden has been to the BBC and presented them with all the information, why they are not picked up on this. Why is it that Newsnight, okay, Paxman, he can interview Russell Brand imploring people not to vote just before a general election, okay. Newsnight Paxman can interview what are they called? EDL. It's some BNP style the political party. Okay. He can interview him and he'll sit there talking about, you know, his racist attitudes. But they can't give Gordon Bowden an interview. Why not? If they can interview Russell Brand, who, you know, how long was that interview? What, 15 minutes of Russell Brand? A comedian asking people, you know, telling people they shouldn't vote, it's a waste of time voting. And being given all the credibility of a serious Newsnight interview with Jeremy Paxman. So where's all the publicity and credibility of a serious interview with Jeremy Paxman here on BBC Newsnight? And top respect to Gordon Bowden. He's an ex-RAF engineer. He's not stupid. He's highly intelligent. And everything that he says, he's got the full evidence to support it. Now, if you cannot arrest a criminal when you've got absolute foolproof lawful evidence, and still you can't arrest a criminal, then we are not living in any kind of human society. We're living in absolute lawlessness, and expect anything to happen, and God help the children when they've removed our human rights. What right have the Tory party got to scrap our human rights and replace them with their Bill of Rights that has been exclusively written and devised and planned by them? And we can guess what their Bill of Rights is going to amount to, can't we? No money, no rights. Well, if that's the way you want to live, okay, then carry on ignoring Gordon Bowden. Carry on ignoring the crimes that he's exposing. Carry on refusing and failing to stand up for not only your own rights, but your children's rights as well. And if you fail to do these, and remember, all those rights were delivered to us by men like my grandfather who sacrificed their lives. Okay? Well, nobody's asking you to sacrifice your lives to stand up for what you've already got. But it may come to that once you've lost them, because they will not be easy. They will not be easy to get back.